Hi and welcome to Classics Confidential. It's the last day of the Classical Association Conference here in Durham, and I'm talking with Paolo Monella, who is from the University of Palermo in Sicily. You've been part of a panel about digital humanities, is that right?
Right now I'm coming out of that. So.
Oh, this morning, was it? Bright and early on Monday.
Yes,
Do you want to tell us a bit about the panel?
Well, there have been actually 3 different panels on the digital humanities this time, which is nice. One of them on open access, and the one today about different topics, including teaching classics with the electronic tools, editing classics with the electronic tools, and my paper that had nothing to do with that, but it was about a completely different approach, and another panel the first day too.
Yes. So digital humanities has got a very strong presence this year.
If by presence you mean the people come into the panels,
yeah. Did you get a big audience?
Not quite big.
Not
that's
so
the point.
big.
We're trying to make the people understand that this is digital, but this is also humanities in a true sense.
Yes.
We're working on it.
Well, the audience size might be more to do with the fact it's Monday morning and the conference dinner was last night, rather than the subject matter. But
True.
So tell us about your paper. What was that about?
Normally digital humanities tend to focus on digital tools to use in the analysis of ancient texts, archaeology and stuff. My paper in particular had a different approach. I made a comparison between the model of interaction between audience and author and patronage, etc. in the ancient world, especially Ovid and Martial. A comparison between this and the digital model where copyright is not there anymore. Now the point is that they didn't have copyright.
Right.
We're going not to have copyright anymore, so we need to devise an entirely new model. And that case study of the ancient world can help us think the thing in a new way.
So you think we can learn lessons from how literary production functioned in antiquity?
That literary production definitely worked out, and they gave us a couple of pieces of valuable interest, including the Aeneid, but that wasn't a functional model. I mean, we shouldn't take it as a model to refer to imitate, because it was heavily flawed. Patronage was a humiliating way to get money, but they dealt with issues that we are dealing with today, so the analysis of some patterns that were there can be useful to help us rethink authorship acknowledgement in a completely different way.
Right. Can you give us some examples?
Well, for example, an author like Martial or Ovid didn't get a penny for any copy he sold, because they didn't have copyright at all. So their interest was to disseminate their work as widely as possible. Anybody could copy a work of Ovid freely without copyright, but through literary success, Ovid or Martial would get literary acknowledgement and patronage.
I see what you... Yeah, okay.
So we have to devise methods that let us think beyond copyright, including, because our technology today also has a viral diffusion of ebooks. I can download the ebooks illegally for free.
Yes.
But I must be pushed towards paying something that eventually goes to the author, because all authors in all times must eat and drink.
Yes.
So.
And we don't have patrons, unfortunately.
No, but we can have intermediators that make the job that patrons would do, including universities funding digital publications of essays. I mean, come on, who's going to buy our books on Martial in a commercial arena? But universities funding me to do that, because it's in the public interest, and the digital costs of publishing are so low that the university can fund it. And so
the university steps into the shoes of a Maecenas, for instance.
For instance, but there are other models too.
Yes. And so what did people think of those ideas when you shared them? Did they think this was a possible analogy, a possible way to overcome some of the problems that we're facing?
Apparently so, but as long as we're very careful and very conscious of the methodological issues concerned. I'm not saying that their model is similar to our model just because they didn't have copyright and we don't.
Yes.
It's just that we have a completely different environment, but some quintessential issues may be comparable. We don't have to imitate them, but we have to use them to think of our situation a little bit better. So as long as we are careful about these methodological issues, the comparison can be, as I put it, useful anyway.
Yes, excellent. And what about the other papers in the panel?
The papers were very interesting too about tools, digital tools that they use, like visualizing classical archaeology in a 3D dimension, so modeling of space. That was very interesting, and also about using the images, classical images archives, with teaching classics about copyright and stuff like that, repositories of images, and Well, Aurélien Barra. Okay, do you like my
Yeah,
French accent?
great
English,
accent.
Italian. Aurélien Barra.
You're multinational.
Well, this person talked about a digital critical edition of Athenaeus. And that's amazing, because if we want a digital critical edition of an author, we must add a plus, something more than the print edition, otherwise I'll just buy the print edition.
Yeah.
And Athenaeus is the person to choose, because you can link him to the original passages and also encode the way he embedded texts in a more sophisticated way.
Because he was drawing on bits of lots of different authors, so you could then use the online tools to maybe compare with older text. Is that right?
That's a part of what you can do. As long as you encode it digitally, you can add modules to it, do new things, or you can do a deeper literary critical analysis of the text, because you can encode how much a text is embedded into another text. Because the thing is, you can also not believe this, but we do not have any single digital critical edition of classical texts. We don't have any, as long as classical texts are concerned. We have New Testament, fragments, Scholia from Euripides. We have 3 projects altogether.
Yes.
We need people working on editions.
What do you think Virgil and Ovid would have thought about online digital editions of their works?
Again, that's the issue about these comparisons, but definitely they would be surprised by our model just as much as they would have been with the Gutenberg model of print. But in a way, the idea that we can share texts without copyright wouldn't surprise them at all. And I wish I knew what Ovid would think.
He'd probably be quite happy, really.
Well, about this thing about dissemination of text would be quite natural to him. Okay, they're downloading my music.
Yeah.
So what? I get more people in the concerts.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have to face it, because you've been downloading music probably through.
Not illegally.
Not
I hasten to add.
You wouldn't say it. But many people will be downloading illegally ebooks in the future, because the ebook thing is coming up.
Oh.
Due to the Kindle and the other hardware.
Yeah. The iPads.
So we have to think about it in order to be ahead, and instead of reacting to a flood like this, thinking ahead, thinking how books can circulate, what business model, why not? Also businesses.
No, that sounds very sensible and very interesting, and thank you very much for coming to tell us about your paper, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Bye, thanks.